welcome. You're watching 6 Stories at 6 with me, Tanisha Awasthi. Let's quickly get you a roundup of the top stories that we will get to you on this edition. First up, another case of P-Gate has hit Air India once again. This time, it is an Indian national who has urinated on the MD of a MNC. Meanwhile, it is a huge win for India. In just some hours from now, the 2611 plotter Tahawwur Rana will be landing in India, and Republic is tracking close details on that story as well. In Jammu and Kashmir Assembly, it is a complete mockery by the ones who have been elected by the people. There was ruckus, chaos and scuffle that broke out, and the dramatic scenes will get you uncut video of what actually happened. In Bengal, the SSC scam has taken a violent turn where the protesters in the recruitment scam of Bengal were pushed by the cops. Also, India has cracked the Rafale deal, and this comes as a major boost to the Navy. And finally, the tariff war between China and the United States is only escalating, and it is tariff versus more tariff. We'll get you all those stories on this edition, but first a quick check of the main story that we're tracking, the first story. Now, Air India has been hit by another P-Gate scandal. A passenger allegedly urinated on the managing director of a multinational company on board Air India flight AI2336 going from Delhi to Bangkok. Now, the airline notified the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, DGCA, about the incident. The victim is said to be a senior executive from a large company, and that the passenger responsible has reportedly apologized for the actions. Now, more details about the incident, including the identity of the perpetrator and victim, as well as the reason behind the act, have been revealed. Now, we have the letter of the Air India that they have written to the DGCA. Now, this is the statement that Air India has given, where they have said that passengers seated on 2D urinated on a passenger seated on 1D during the descent. Now, what we also know is that passengers seated on 1D apprised the cabin crew of the incident, after which, remember, the victim had sought an unconditional apology from Air India management. We also know that the passenger seated on 2D was immediately relocated to another seat. This was the action that Air India had taken. But remember, they have downplayed the incident time and again. Now, we know that the statement that Air India has given to DGCA and not out in public, they have said that he has apologized. The victim here essentially has apologized for his misbehavior and said that he was feeling guilty about it. However, all of these details, remember, have not been put out in public as yet by Air India. Now, he was warned by cabin crew, then shifted to seat number 14C. So, a mere warning is what the Air India crew has given to the person who urinated on the MD of a multinational company. And this, remember, viewers, happened inside while the plane was on board. It was en route Delhi to Bangkok. Now, the passenger seated in 1D denied to file a complaint is what the Air India has given in their statement to the DGCA. We also know that other passengers denied to file a complaint against the accused. Now, these are the claims that Air India has been making, and this is the letter that Air India has written to the DGCA. Harsha, my colleague, is joining me live on the broadcast on that. Harsha, what more details do we know about the accused? Air India seems to be downplaying the incident, and this is another P-Gate scandal that has hit Air India. The first one, of course, that had come back in the month of January last year.
Yes, Tanisha, you rightly pointed out there's a second case of the P-Gate in Air India Airlines. Only earlier it was Shankar Mishra last year, January. But in case of Shankar Mishra, there was a proper police complaint filed by Delhi police. After that, we got to know what were the details of Shankar Mishra. Shankar Mishra was banned by Air India for 5 years for his unruly behavior. Also, there was a fine also which was imposed on Shankar Mishra. But in this case, Air India has completely tried to brush the entire incident under the the carpet, and that is the reason why the unruly passenger is walking free. Right now he would be somewhere in Bangkok, not returned to India, but there has been no official complaint which has been filed against him by Air India in Bangkok after landing. Also, Air India went on by saying that the standing independent committee has taken cognizance of this entire incident and they will determine what sort of action is to be taken on the unruly passenger. But right now we know that there has been no formal complaint, but yes, from the side of the victim, who is the MD of an MNC, he's a high profile victim, we have got to know that he has written a mail to Air India seeking an apology from the airlines, because clearly, Tanisha, in this case, Air India has not learned from the previous incident, and that is the reason why this time again we saw that a passenger was intoxicated to a level that he urinated on a fellow passenger while going on the way to the washroom. This is what has happened. Also, the entire incident was reported to DGCA in the afternoon only when Republic broke the news. The authorities were not informed in the morning hours when flight landed in Bangkok at around 7:30 a.m. That is the lack of seriousness which we saw from the side of Air India. We have put out a mail asking them certain questions, and then after they have responded, an entire Air India statement has come into this entire incident. But yes, no formal complaint as of now. The accused is walking free somewhere in Bangkok. Back to you.
Right, Harsha, thank you very much for sharing those details. Remains to be seen on when and what action will Air India take against the P-Gate accused. We move on to the other stories that we are tracking now. The central investigating agencies are now just hours away from finally getting their hands on India's most wanted 2611 plotter, Tahawwur Hussain Rana. A 6 to 7 member team of the National Investigation Agency, led by a DIG rank officer, left for the United States in a special plane to bring back the former doctor in the Pakistan Army who plotted one of the biggest terror attacks on Indian soil in decades. Take a look at this report for all the latest updates as we continue to closely track Tahawwur Rana's extradition back to India.
Exactly 17 years to the horrific terror attacks that continue to evoke dark memories, the central agencies are set to finally get their hands on top 2611 plotter Tahawwur Hussain Rana. Top security sources told Republic that Rana, who staked out key 2611 targets, including the iconic Taj and Trident hotels in Mumbai, would arrive in India by a special plane in the early hours of Thursday. A 6 to 7 member team of the National Investigation Agency, led by a DIG rank officer, left for the US in a special plane to bring back India's most wanted. Rana's arrival would mark the end of a prolonged quest by the centre to bring back the 2611 mastermind, setting in motion the process of bringing the remaining plotters and perpetrators of the 4-day mayhem to justice. Republic learned from top sources that Rana was shifted out of the detention center in Los Angeles to an undisclosed location ahead of his extradition to India.
Yes, so there are two exits. Because of the security measures, they haven't told us which exit they will be taking. There's one exit here and one is on the back side, which is the parking lot. So it could be anywhere, either this one or that one. But since there is too much security, so they are not informing anyone of what the route they will be taking.
Republic, which is the only Indian network in the US tracking the much-awaited extradition, spotted a vehicle leaving the detention facility in LA.
So the police officers aren't there. The police officers aren't there. This is the first exit, which I'm about to show you. This is the first exit, which is for pedestrians who prefers walking. This is the first entrance. And let me show you the other one as well. You can see the police car as well here. But there's not like in the sense of physical policemen are not here. But yeah, in terms of security, the doors are locked and everything. And so this is another car which just left from the detention center. And this is the second exit.
However, the security officials were tight-lipped on whether the vehicle was ferrying Rana to the undisclosed location. With India's quest for Rana set to end, will Pakistan's facade of innocence in the 2611 attacks fall off now?
Kaswar, my colleague, is joining me live from Islamabad. Kaswar, Pakistan's role has been nailed in the 26/11 attacks, one of the deadliest attacks in decades, in fact. Now, how is the Pakistan responding to Tahawwur's extradition back to India? India is literally dragging him back, and it's a huge diplomatic win for us.
Well, Pakistan has not given any official response regarding Tahawwur Rana's extradition from the United States to India. And Pakistani officials on the record, they did not utter even a single statement regarding that. But I have tried to speak to a number of Pakistani officials, and everybody was giving a one-liner explanation. That was, Pakistan is not concerned about what are the activities, what a foreign nation have been doing in the past 11, 12, 13 years. So when I put another question, they told me that since he is a Canadian national, he moved from Pakistan to Canada in 1997, acquired the Canadian nationality in 2001. So this is something between three countries: Canada, United States, and India. Pakistan has nothing to do with that. And remember, this is the response which I have got to know to under the carpet, the off the record statement from the Pakistani official. But on the other hand, not a single statement has been given either from Pakistan's military or even Pakistan Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Well, there is no doubt that Tahawwur Rana was born and bred in Pakistan. He studied in one of the iconic cadet college in Pakistan, and also has been a part of Pakistan military's Army Corps. But he abandoned Pakistan citizenship long ago in 1997 and acquired Canadian, nationality. So Pakistan is very clear, and that is a foreign national. Pakistan is nothing to do with the activities of a foreign national, and they believe that this is something which is between the three countries: India, United States, and Canada. Pakistan is nothing to do with that. This is the response which I have got from Pakistani official, but this is not an official response. Let me very clearly tell you. Pakistan is taking time out of statement regarding this. Also, what is very interesting is that an official told me that he has studied Tahawwur Rana's case, and there are very little accusation or evidence against Tahawwur Rana as well. And he told me off the record that whether United States or India, they will not be able to press the charges against him because there is just a single emailed evidence and nothing else. But still, he told me that Pakistan has nothing to do with Tahawwur Rana, because this is something a foreigner is involved. Foreigner is involved in this case, and Pakistan is nothing to do with a foreigner, what he has been doing on a foreign land. So Pakistan is not.
Absolutely. Kaswar, all eyes will be on when and at what time exactly will Tahawwur Rana, the 26/11 plotter, will be brought back, in fact, dragged back to India. Republic is going to be live. We move on to the other stories that we're tracking, and this one is from Jammu and Kashmir. Ladies and gentlemen, what we saw today in the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly was extremely chaotic scenes that were witnessed from the Assembly today. There was mayhem, chaos, ruckus, and scuffle between the Aam Aadmi Party and BJP MLAs. Visuals of that are running on your screens right now. Now, this scuffle went so violent, so much so that the MLAs broke the glasses, shut the door of the assembly. Now, Aam Aadmi Party MLA Mehraj Malik was allegedly beaten up outside the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly over the remarks he purportedly passed against the former Chief Minister and late PDP leader Mufti Muhammad Sayyid, as well as for mocking protesters by the BJP members. First, watch this video from inside the assembly on what actually happened.
बीजेपी के लोगों ने हमला किया, इन लोगों ने इनको शर्म नहीं आ रही? उन्होंने बाहर बीजेपी के गुंडे और साफ आपने हॉर्स चलाने के लिए हमारे यहाँ जाने कर रहे हिंदुओं को गाली देता है।
Ladies and gentlemen, these are the visuals from inside the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly. And remember, these are the elected members that have been elected to think about the betterment of the people. Now, the incident after it went violent, the assembly marshals then came to Malik's rescue, the Aam Aadmi Party MLA's rescue, and pushed him inside the house, which had already been adjourned by that time by the speaker till 1 p.m. The BJP and the PDP members tried to follow him inside, but they were stopped by the marshals who locked the doors. Walking over the treasury benches, the Aam Aadmi Party MLA alleged that he had been attacked by the BJP, much to the shock of the NC legislators such as the cabinet minister Sakina Itu. Here's the full story on what actually happened after that.
Dramatic showdown gripped the floor of the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly for the third day in a row today. The National Conference and the BJP quarrelled and scuffled over the Waqf Amendment Bill, even as the House Speaker tried to enforce order. The members across the political aisle were caught up in a fight. In fact, footage showed MLAs being escorted to safety by security deployed at the State Assembly. Amid the chaos that unfolded, the Aam Aadmi Party and BJP MLAs were also seen getting in a violent altercation after a verbal spat. Visuals also show broken furniture and glass at the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly after the physical altercation between the MLAs. The premises of the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly were sealed for the day after the rucks and scuffles.
ये चीज़ें असेंबली में नहीं होनी चाहिए। हम असेंबली में अगर हम जम्मू से चुने हुए और श्रीनगर से चुने हुए जो नुमाइंदे थे, हम लोगों की डेवलपमेंट के इशू के लिए आए थे। 3 मार्च से हाउस चल रहा है। आज हमारे मनकोटिया साहब ने डेली वेजर्स का जो इशू था वो उठाया, उस पर बात करने के लिए, चर्चा करने के लिए रखा। इन्होंने फिर वक्फ वोट जब वो लॉ एग्जीक्यूट हो गया है, आज पूरे देश में इम्प्लीमेंट हो गया है, जब हमारे पार्लियामेंट से ऊपर कुछ नहीं है, असेंबली में हमारा कोई पार्ट ही नहीं बनता उसको डिस्कस करना, तो वो पार्ट ऑफ डिस्कशन नहीं था।
The BJP moved an adjournment motion in the assembly over unemployment in the state, which was quickly turned down by the speaker, who said the matter was not listed in the scheduled business for a debate. Meanwhile, the National
All right, we move on to the other stories that we're tracking on this broadcast. Violent street showdown erupted across Bengal today as the protesting SSC candidates tried to storm offices of the district inspector of schools, demanding that they be absorbed in the jobs they were selected for. In moving scenes outside a DI office in Kolkata's Kasbah, the protesting job losers received savage blows from police batons as they protested against the Mamata Banerjee government. Now, desperate and inconsolable, a protester was seen lying on the street, daring the police to lay into him. Here's the full report on that.
Mamata police unleashed a brutal security crackdown on protesting SSC candidates across Bengal. In Kolkata, Bardhaman, Murshidabad and elsewhere in Bengal, protesting SSC candidates were seen storming the offices of district inspectors of schools. Burning with helpless rage, the protesting SSC candidates were seen clashing with the police as they tried to resist their advance. Heartbreaking scenes unfolded outside a DI office in Kolkata's Kasbah as police in full riot gear threw kicks and punches at the hapless protesters. More moving visuals showed police batons raining on desperate SSC candidates as they pressed to be absorbed in the jobs that they were selected for. A protester was pictured lying on the street, daring the police personnel to lay into him. Education Minister Bratya Basu meanwhile blamed the crackdown on SSC candidates, saying they could have held off on their protests for a few days as Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee promised not to deprive them. At a meeting with the protesters at Kolkata's Netaji Indoor Stadium on Tuesday, Mamata offered to absorb candidates into a voluntary service, triggering fresh protests on the streets. As the SSC protests escalate, can the Mamata government do job seekers justice?
Ladies and gentlemen, India has cleared a major government-to-government deal with France for the procurement of 26 Rafale marine fighter aircraft. The deal, estimated to be worth over rupees 6,300 crore, is expected to be finalized and formalized in the coming weeks. As per sources, the Indian Navy will receive 22 single-seater jets along with 4 twin-seater variants and a comprehensive package for fleet maintenance, logistical support, personal training and indigenous manufacturing components under offset obligations. The deal also includes training for the Navy personnel. Joining me on the broadcast to share more details on this is Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava. P.K. Srivastava, it's a huge push for the Navy with India signing this big deal, in fact, locking this big deal. How do you see this?
Tanisha, I would say it's a great moment for the country and Indian Navy in that order. Because Indian Navy had been waiting for the replacement of MiG-29K for a very long time. And this deal becomes very important in the backdrop of the Rafale Indian Air Force, which has come. And if you combine these two, it gets the country or the armed forces, Indian Navy and Indian Air Force, 4 things primarily. It gives you operational efficiency, it gives you maintenance efficiency, it gives you logistical efficiency, and it also gives you training efficiency. Let me elaborate on maintenance part a little more, because that's going to be the continuous burden on the operations of these aircraft. Normally, the aircraft operations of this class are very costly. If we combine and synergize, then our operational cost, or what we call the operational cost per hour of fighter flying in this class of aircraft, would definitely be a kind of optimum value. So I would say it's a great thing, and we have great experience with Dassault from where this aircraft comes in. We have Mirages from them. We also have current Rafale from them. We now have this. So I think it's a good synergy, and it's going to work in the favor of our country and also in favor of Indian Navy. Indian Navy was looking for this kind of aircraft for a long time because the aging fleet of MiG-29K has to be replaced, and our 2 aircraft carriers, which are there, Vikramaditya and Vikrant, they needed these to be done. And I guess 11 of the fighters will go on each one of them, with 2 of the trainer aircraft there. So Tanisha, it's a good moment, it's a big moment, right. And I think this is a great deal sealed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. P.K. Srivastava, thank you very much for joining us here on the broadcast and sharing your insights. Moving on to the final and the last story that we're tracking on this edition. Now, as the trade war between the United States and China intensifies, Beijing announced that it will impose tariff of up to nearly 84% on the United States goods starting Thursday, marking a sharp increase from the previously announced 34%. Here's a detailed report on all that you need to know.
The world's two largest economies are once again at loggerheads, this time over a fresh wave of tariffs. After President Donald Trump announced an unprecedented 104% tariff on Chinese imports.
On the other hand, countries like China, who have chosen to retaliate and try to double down on their mistreatment of American workers, are making a mistake. President Trump has a spine of steel, and he will not break, and America will not break under his leadership.
China was quick to retaliate, slapping additional tariffs of up to 84% on US goods. Beijing called the move blackmail, vowing to fight till the end. The sudden tariff spike has sent shockwaves across global markets. Economists warn of a full-blown trade war that could push consumer prices higher and stall economic recovery. Interestingly, India could stand to gain. Policy think tank Niti Aayog says this disruption may open up trade opportunities for Indian manufacturers and exporters. Trump's aggressive trade stance is once again grabbing headlines. But with no sign of de-escalation between China and US, the world watches anxiously as the tariff tit for tat unfolds.
One of the biggest dangers to our country are negative influences, dirty influences. These are people who are there on digital mediums only to get numbers, and what they do has had a very negative effect on our society. We all know about it. But together, you and I can change that. Republic is starting an influencer incubator program where you can be part of creating some world-class content that is nation first, that helps our country, that creates awareness. And you can work with me here on this campus as part of the first phase of the Republic Influencer Incubator program, which is the Positive Influencers program. The Positive Influencers program, which is going to be run from the Republic Media Campus, which is the largest newsroom in Asia, aims to bring together a diverse set of people from across the country. You can work from where you are, you can work with me here on this campus to create content on anything which you feel, if it proliferates, if it spreads, will have a positive impact on our people. It could be in the area of health, technology, defense, awareness, current affairs, politics, or even history, science and technology. I know there are a lot of you out there who have the talent, and all that you want is the reach. And Republic is doing this to give your content the reach. Together, all of us can come together and create a content revolution in our country. The digital medium, the growth of digital in our country is one of the most fascinating things, but you can use it in a positive way for the country, or you can use it in a negative way for our country. There are too many people who are using the digital medium to make a quick buck. But together, all of us, if we become one unit that's working in national interest, that believes in nation first, then through the Positive Influencer program, we can change the way the digital medium works in our country. So come, I welcome you to work with me here on the Republic campus as part of the Positive Influencer program. Here on the Republic Media campus, you will have access to great infrastructure, a warm and welcoming professional environment, and of course, the best production values. Now, if you have the content and you feel it needs the finish, it needs to be worked on, or that you would benefit from working in an environment where there are many other content creators like you, then you can be here. You can work with me here in the Republic newsroom. You can work from home. You can make it 50-50. You can make it work the way you want. As long as you believe that the content you create, and we believe that the content you create, will make our nation number one, will be one solid contribution towards a Viksit Bharat, then you can be part of this wonderful program. The initiative I announced in the presence of the Prime Minister at the Republic Summit, which is the Republic Positive Influencer Program. So come, work with me, work with us. Let's make a difference for our country.